Hello and welcome everyone, this is Blackadder at Blackadder's Place, and I'm going to be starting with the first game right off as the players are in place and not really delaying anymore today. And we're going to be having a last match from the quarterfinals of the Age of Mythology Vanilla Championship, and it's between BoIt and GrandMonster. The first home map is going to be Medit, and I think it was actually a home map of BoIt. I think it was written in the room, but I haven't really seen the text all that much. So I do believe it was actually boys' home map, and GrandMonster is apparently going to be playing Odin here. Interesting choice. And playing against Isis. Well, I'm not entirely sure what he wants to do, because Odin on water is not exactly a recipe for victory. But maybe he's just gonna ignore the water and go for the land aggression. Could be some kind of variant for him. But against Enegi, it's always going to be a bit harder, because of course, he's going to be facing quite plenty of towers on the other side of the map. So right now I'm going to be looking around a bit, as we are discovering that there's not really all that much interesting stuff around his base. He's having just one piggy, and otherwise the piggies are in the back in there, and he has quite probably used the Great Hunt on the starting pigs that are right next to his TC, which kinda makes sense, of course, if he wants to be having an ideal start, but maybe you could have waited a bit. You can see that there are a bit more piggies around, because of course he basically made one extra out of the two, because it's like not enough power in it when you are having just a few animals in there, and he probably could have waited. Yeah, you can see just right now the ones still being very much alive, so he could have waited for a bit more and get some better effect. So maybe he just jumped the gun a bit more than was necessary at this moment. Anyway, we are looking at this water that seems to be quite alright for the rock at the very start. Maybe he could have placed it a bit more to the middle, which is usually better, but he probably wanted to be getting the efficiency in there. And since these are not really any kind of changed maps, like for example for the Wobbly Balance patch in AOT, this means that the fishy spawns are ultimately totally random. So it's usually better to actually go for some already good spot that you know about and hope that it's going to be slightly better if you move it a bit more to the left for better efficiency. Yeah, the second one is gonna go about here. I'm thinking if he's gonna be fighting for the water, which right now I'm not entirely sure if he will, because the civilizations are kinda weird towards each other. As of course BoIt is already going with the second one, and he's gonna be having very nice positions. There is some at the top, so this is a very good first dog. The second one is going to be making use of these fishies and these as well. So yeah, this is really going quite nicely for him, and the map is not half bad as far as he's concerned. Inside his base, he's already gathering quite a lot of piggies. You can see all across the map, he has been scouting to the right, basically the same as his opponent GrandMonster, which does leave him with the knowledge of those two gold mines next to the TC. So that's nothing very important for BoIt, because he will have to move there if he wants to protect some reasonable gold mines and map control for him as well in the later game. Otherwise, second TC in the back, well, that doesn't protect anything, but it's at least safe. He does have one extra gold mine in there if he wants to, but not really that safe-ish again. So potentially something that GrandMonster might be wanting to abuse. We are also looking at some first relic, that's better villager gold and wood gatherates. Very nice relic. And the second one on the right is going to be for better towers. Oh well, it's actually quite lucky right about now for GrandMonster that it's next to him and not next to the opponent, because it will be making the early aggression quite impossible for him. Otherwise, interesting gold mines for GrandMonster. You can see the one quite close by to his TCs. Yeah, that's actually very nice. The second TC is also quite close by to it, as he's having extra gold in the corner. Should be not that bad if he was properly about here. And it could be also establishing pretty good trade route from about here to the bottom TC, or the other way around. Doesn't really matter all that much, not that much of a difference in there. And for the Ege, definitely better is going to be for this corner, from this corner to the other corner of the map, but that's not going to be that easy, as GrandMonster is already dropping a temple. And this is exactly what I was kind of thinking about, that picking Odin against an Isis, when this is a home map of BoIt, it doesn't really signal some significant fight for the water. It really doesn't. So right now I'm kind of thinking he will want to actually make BoIt think that he is coming for some more aggressive water battle, trying to make him actually supply a bit more boats into it than necessary, and then surprise the opponent, of course, through this. Let's see, because of course he will, of course, need to get rid of the priest, as you already gotten rid of him, actually. Where is he? Ah, here is he, hidden in the forest, apparently not wanting to work anymore. But yeah, this is of course a bit of an issue for BoIt, because I'm fairly certain he doesn't know about this, and he probably won't anytime soon, because he might have already scouted that side of the map for himself, and that in case will be a huge surprise and of course pretty big advantage for GrandMonster. Just needs to be a bit more careful, as yeah, well, right now he's going to be giving up what's happening, both through Heimdall. That's one actually notice what's gonna be happening, and second because of course Hersirs at this stage of the game here next to the TC, it means only one thing: Temple right next to him, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to get there so soon from the other part of the map. So Ulfs are gonna be coming back with interesting plays, second dock, to basically try and abuse the water economy, even if he's not going to be fighting for it really. So Anubis up, and maybe, just maybe, we're going to be seeing actually the Snakies used as a defense. I'll be definitely thinking so. Right now this is definitely pretty nice capability of Isis to actually defend against infantry, because from the temple he can produce the priest basically for free, and they are going to be quite effective in the defense. So yeah, right now he's gonna be probably waiting for Longhouse so that he can drop maybe Ulfsarks, maybe a few raiders, not really sure. Probably raiders would be slightly better, as we are looking at the priests getting up in numbers, but so far I don't really think that this is going as well as GrandMonster was hoping, as BoIt will be putting up some cabinets as well, and GrandMonster apparently is fully fighting for the water. So that might have been just a bit of a distraction to actually make the opponent use a bit more resources than was necessary. I actually don't think it's gonna matter all that much, because he hasn't so far used any kind of wood or whatnot. He just basically used extra gold for the priests, which are expensive, but Isis does have the prosperity, so I don't really think that the gold is going to be any kind of issue for BoIt at this stage still. So fight for the water, of course, is going to be interesting and should be going for BoIt, I will be thinking. Even though we mustn't forget, actually, GrandMonster's boats, well, they are the same. We are not in AOT, of course, because in AOT, Norse boats are actually having one more attack, so they will be a bit more dangerous, and Snake is exactly in here in the defense, but it's always better for the Isis if he can use them in the offensive, but of course GrandMonster is having quite a good advantage above his opponent, so he at least needed to buy himself time to get some more cabinets up. So far very well played by GrandMonster, but you can see that BoIt is not really panicking, not overcommitting or whatnot into the land. That's definitely good news for him, as the Heresirs are so far kinda innocuous, not really doing anything at all, and we are just waiting for the proper number of boats, as BoIt is just going around with his food gathering and hoping to learn how many boats the opponent actually has. How's it actually looking with some economy? No upgrades for BoIt, interestingly enough. For the opponent we are looking at Hendaks. I'll be really kinda curious why he's not having at least pickaxe or whatnot. Or Hendaks even like that, not sure. But right now we are having a bit of an engagement between the priests and the few Owl Breeder. Owl Bleeder, not Breeder. Hersirs in there. But yeah, this is what I was talking about at the start, that those towers are always going to be a pretty big issue for GrandMonster. He does have the undermine, so if he places it correctly, he could be killing the tower and potentially even some decent hit points from the TC, but he probably doesn't really feel comfortable enough. So let's see how this is gonna develop. If everything goes all well, then we could be looking at GrandMonster advancing through Njord and potentially casting Walk in Woods, which would be helping with deleting the buildings, of course. Unless BoIt played it correctly and basically lured them into the corner, that could be definitely happening. Because they are not controlled, of course, on the vanilla, as he's already coming for armory BoIt here and hoping that he can get into the next age pretty soon, as we are looking at some engagement and quite a bit bigger number of boats right about now for GrandMonster, so I'm not entirely sure why he was actually running away from that position, because the only stuff that he needs to care about are those snakies right next to this dock. Which is, of course, quite foolproof fallback moment and actually position on the map for BoIt in the battles to come. So far not really looking great for BoIt, but looking how he's advancing into the next age, and so far I haven't really noticed any signs that GrandMonster could be doing the same. After this engagement somehow resolves, I'm going to be checking for armory. If he's actually ready in for it or not. Let's see. Snake is finally getting some hits as well. Definitely gonna help him, and this is really right now super important for BoIt, because this means that always GrandMonster has to retreat from this position, because he cannot let himself be lured in the range of those guys in the water, as they will be basically just exactly the difference that make it an equal battle for BoIt. So cabinets, nice kite in right now on the left, basically luring them, not doing any damage, but receiving plenty of it. And this is not going well for BoIt at all, like absolutely at all. He's absolutely getting hammered in here. GrandMonster playing very well indeed. And this is basically going to be just waiting for the heroic age for BoIt, and probably even Ancestors on the water. If he can cast the Ancestors on the water and then supply enough siege boats, he's probably gonna win the water. Unless GrandMonster is already aiming there as well, which... You don't see armor here. You don't see it here either. Yeah, so he's still in the Classical Age, not even thinking about advance, as opposed to BoIt. And yep, this is going to be all about the Ancestors on water, I think. In this case, they would be winning the water for him, because they would be tailed by pretty hard problem for GrandMonster to deal with. And those are the siege boats. He had the kite in all over the map. It's definitely nice to see all the micro in here. Snake is still very much alive, keeping those boats at bay. And they are doing their job. And it seems like that maybe BoIt won't even need the Ancestors, because you can see right now he's doing such a great job of getting rid of all of this. Apparently his economy got a second the breath, as he's right now probably getting some extra upgrades. And right now he is actually the one who will be pushing the GrandMonster back. Oh man, this is actually well played right now by BoIt. Wouldn't be really expecting that all that much. And definitely has to be a bit of a surprise from GrandMonster. Or maybe did he get some upgrade from the armory? No, he didn't. It's usually also a pretty decent idea to get the Pierce armor actually. As it usually helps quite significantly in these battles. Oh, careful BoIt. Bit of a micro definitely needed in here, as you are getting lured into very bad position indeed. And how's it looking in here? Second gold already. Moved up. Interested in a bit of walling in there. And so far, we don't really see the armor yet. We are still in Longhouse. That's interesting spot, as he's apparently switching to the right about now. Still not even a thought about Heroic Age. So how's it looking for BoIt? Yeah, he's definitely advancing. You can see the huge drop in there at about 11 minutes. So he's going to be advancing in about 20 seconds. And that will be a scary moment for GrandMonster, because it's not even in his mind. You could have seen he doesn't have any resources whatsoever for it. Right now left this, and well, yeah, right now I don't think that BoIt actually needs to use the Ancestors. All he needs to do is just about now get some extra siege boats, and basically it's going to be for him quite alright. Even right now, with just the cabinets, it seems to be going his way. So good job on BoIt, not panicking, and here we go with the first 4 barges, and that's going to be it for the water for GrandMonster. Unless he plans some surprising advance into the next age, which I still don't see from him even attempted. Alright, and finally armory, but it's going to be way too late. It's gonna be way too late, because the war barges are just gonna be annihilating all of this, and with a bit of luck, they're even gonna be killing the docks in the time. I'm not exactly sure it's gonna be working, but right now probably Ancestors not gonna do anything all that much, because of course he's going to be fighting against Heresiers, so he's gonna have to abandon this TC. Yeah, please don't cast Ancestors, please don't. At least Pharaoh is coming in. With the Pharaoh, maybe it could be making sense. Maybe it could. They would be at least delaying, and with Pharaoh it's a huge bonus on the fast build. But maybe he could be just dropping a Migdol if he has enough gold. Which I'm not all that certain he will be having. Yeah, he's not. He's not having that at all. And right now GrandMonster is going to be trying to force him off with the gold, which is gonna work. Luckily for him there's gold at the back, and apparently with the Migdol, yeah, this is the reason why he didn't have the gold. He's gonna be having that, because there's not much that right now GrandMonster can do about this. So gold is not a problem for BoIt. BoIt though should be using the siege boats to get rid of the docks. I don't exactly understand why he's insisting on actually taking them against the boats, because he's having plenty of cabinets. Right now, of course, there's a threat. Yeah, careful BoIt about this. That of course the hammer ships are going to be coming up, but the counters not really. There are 4 Greeks. Hammer ships, I think, are those for Norse, right? Where are you? Drakars. Hammer ships are actually, though, they are going to be for... Not sure. Maybe they just called overall, and I'm confusing it. Anyway, the TC has been successfully stolen. This is actually very nicely played by GrandMonster, because he's going to be, through that, also controlling this gold. Right now he's basically forcing BoIt into the left side and probably pushing through the walls and into these golds, which I'm not all that certain he actually knows about. But looking at those piggies in there and the chariot archer, yeah, he right now knows. So he can realize that he can just basically move forward in there. And looking at the water, to be honest, it looks like that GrandMonster is actually giving up on it and not interested in pursuing that any longer. Maybe you could have made actually BoIt invest a bit more, as you're already looking at pursuing the upgrade for the faster fishing gathering in there. And of course right now BoIt will have to drop a Migdol and some siege works in the right, so that he can prevent the attack that is gonna definitely come from GrandMonster through that side. What is the problem for GrandMonster, I think, is that this is in a water range, this TC. Maybe not in Heroic Age, but in Mythical Age I think it will be in range. Because the boats are going to be ending about here on the shore. Yeah, that seems to be in range. So this TC is going to be problematic for GrandMonster to actually keep us his. As another TC is coming up, and well, chariot archers going all around, looking at a ton of idols in there. And even though they are having nice upgrades, all of them is definitely not going to be all that useful for him. Anyway, looking at some other upgrades, already Shaft Mine, that's definitely nice to see. Some LEs, securing the TC and making sure that all the buildings are going to be coming down. Anyway, the attack is already coming up, and GrandMonster is of course going to be using the opportunity, since BoIt hasn't really defended all that much at this side, but looking at the chariot archers and their high mobility, it's not going to be that much of an issue. Well, this idle villager is here probably for quite some time. It seems like he's here since he built the armory. Anubites, well, could be helping, but has to be careful about the heresies in there, of course, but they will be pretty good against the potential throwing axemen, as they might be a bit of an issue against axemen that are going to be coming up from some barracks I would be expecting from BoIt. Anyway, gold mines are still in pretty good supply for GrandMonster. This is not going to be safe. This is going to be abusable from the water, which is something that BoIt should be realizing, but this one is still safe, and well, this one also, and we could be considering this one also quite alright if actually GrandMonster follows with something like Hillfort, which we would definitely be expecting from an Odin. Some switch into Yaros, maybe even just Huskarls, because of the chariot archers we're gonna be seeing pretty soon, I guess. This should be a home map of BoIt, yes, I think so. For those of you in the chat who are actually asking. Well, gold, 2,500, so he definitely needs to be thinking about already pushing through. He's probably going to be trying to cut through first, but how's it gonna look then? He cannot establish a good trade route unless he controls this part of the map. So he's just going to be waiting for those boats to get through. And yeah, then going to be trying to abuse the opponent as much as possible. But it's almost looking like that actually he's not interested in the left side. And he's... oh, yeah, here we go with the Balder. But he's going to be coming a bit more for the gold mine on the right, and maybe even the DC, but right now he doesn't need to worry about it, because the economy is going to be in tatters for GrandMonster. He doesn't have all that many upgrades. He's having just Copper Mail, so this is going to be fairly slow and weak Ragnarok. How many actually does he have? 63. Well, that's not bad. But the missing upgrades are gonna cost him. Because right now BoIt does have enough gold, I'm thinking, even for mercenaries. Yeah, you can see. What the hell? Is he advancing into Mythic? No, he isn't. Or is he? Not sure. But he used a ton of gold just here, you can see. Interesting. Maybe that's another Migdol somewhere, close by, next to the TC or whatnot. Huh? Yeah, it's going to be Migdol in there. And, well, unfortunately for him, he has built another one, and he's going to be using... Has he used it correctly? I actually don't think so. Actually, don't think so. And second thing is that actually, well, yeah, I don't think he actually used it correctly. Not sure if it actually hit both. He definitely could have if he cast it correctly, but not sure. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Doesn't really matter all that much. But all of those guys in here being still present, even though the ancestors are going to be completely useless, of course, against Heroes of Ragnarok, they are gonna be still stalling all of this. Mercenaries should be coming up in pretty big numbers, but opponent is already ready with both fortified DC and Masons. This is going to be making it very hard for GrandMonster to deal any significant damage with those, especially with the mercenaries just now coming up. And this DC is not coming down at all. You can see all the Ragnarok dying. Son of Osiris is going to be absolutely shredding all of those dudes. And yep, this left battlefield is gonna be won without any kind of doubt. And even though the right is gonna be kinda tricky, you will need some extra villages in there. Oh! Careful, you should be trying to finish this. because it's going to be working for you very well. You mustn't forget that GrandMonster's economy is going to be absolutely toasty. This is dead. Those chariot archers already could be moving to the right to help a bit more. Yep. GrandMonster is seeing exactly the same, that the Ragnarok is not going to be the great game winner in here. And this was very well played by BoIt. Nice patient play. Even though it looked absolutely horrible for him on the water at the start, he didn't panic and it really paid out for him. But has to be said that GrandMonster did have a very nice game plan. First, very strong battle for the water, and when that didn't work out, very nice push on the right, forcing the opponent of the gold, stealing the TC. But unfortunately, there were plenty of good gold mines for BoIt to be able to get the extra upgrades, and of course, preparation for the Ragnarok through fortified TC and Masons. Absolutely crucial, and part of the reason why he won the game, because without that, the buildings would be flying, or rather dying like flies, and the TC wouldn't be standing right now. So let's check into the post game. It's gonna be getting plenty of points for BoIt, of course, just the mythology is going to be coming for the opponent. But yeah, you can see the difference in the economy, but it's gonna to be expected with how the game went. And efficiency not huge, definitely not huge, but he was the one attacking and fighting against eggy buildings, so that's usually what happens. Well then, GG.